Hi everyone, this is the video for Natural Selection, lesson 1.4. So I'm going to start out the lesson with a few definitions here. So as I go and read them, you just pause the video and write down your definition of the words here. So starting with the word environment, let me make this bigger. Okay, so an environment is everything living and non-living that surrounds an organism. So this part you don't have to copy down, but each of these environments include many living things such as plants and animals and non-living things. This is the important part, such as rocks and water. So we have a couple examples of environments here. Right? We can have environments above ground, hot, cold, underwater. So pause the video and you just have to write down this part here, everything living and non-living that surrounds an organism. The next vocab word is adaptive trait, which is a trait that makes it more likely that an individual will survive in a specific environment. So if this is the original bird and maybe one goes on to change its beak to look like this, and it will be more specific for eating insects. This one goes on to become a woodpecker, which eats insects inside certain types of insects. And then this one goes on to be a seed-eating beak. So these are all adaptive to the specific environment that they need to survive in. And lastly, for vocab words for today, we have non-adaptive trait, which is a trait that makes it less likely that an individual will survive in a specific environment. So if we see here, we have a giraffe with a long neck, and those ones go on to survive, and the ones with the short necks down here sadly don't make it. So they have the non-adaptive trait of having a short neck. They do not survive in this specific environment. Okay, so after you get the definitions down for those, you will move on to, first is a simulation activity. So you need to open it up and we're going to put in mode fur and temperature A. So when I come here, I'm going to click on this and go to fur and temperature A, load that mode, yes. Okay, then I'm going to change the temperature of the environment to cold level 1 by moving the temperature slider. So I come here, I'm going to move it to level 1, cold. Then I'll run and observe the population after 50 generations at least. Then I'll press analyze. So how to do that is you just want to run it and you'll watch up here the generations going up. If you want to make it faster, you can. And wait till it gets to 50. Then you will stop it and click analyze once it gets to 50, and then answer those two questions there. And you will compare the starting and ending histogram. So that's just here the the ones with the lines would be generation 1, and then the blue would be, you have to wait till it gets to generation 50, and then you will compare them there. Answer these two questions. Coming down here, I'm actually going to show you an example of this. Hey. Sorry about that. So I'll show you an example of this one first. So this is a different starting histogram. This one starts with a lot of low fur and slightly increasing to get to, say, around a middle way of fur. And I would want to predict what the population will look like after 50 generations. So it tells me down here that my environment is changing from warm to cold. So thinking about a warm environment, these things might not need so much fur as it gets to a cold environment. They might need more. So thinking about this, my trait labels, I'm going to label each of these numbers, which ones are more likely to survive in a cold environment. So I probably put the least likely to survive, maybe ones with low, and then higher amounts of fur, I'd put plus. Okay, and then so then after 50 generations, I could think These ones are less likely to survive. These ones more likely to survive. And 50 generations later, maybe the distribution looks like this. So as time goes on, these ones start surviving more. These ones are dying off. And my graph can look like this. So what you're going to do here is you will take these plus or minus S to each of these two bars. And we have the same environment changing from warm to cold over time. But now we just have a smaller distribution. There's only low levels. There's no medium ones. So then after 50 generations, you're going to take these and predict what it's going to look like after 50 generations. So you'll use these and put them, you can just put them if you think it's here and it's going to be like that. Wherever on the graph, up to you what you think. It's just a prediction. And then down here, you'll use the simulation to test your prediction. So you'll test to see the distribution of the fur traits, how they'll change in the environment over time. So what you're going to do is now you're going to do fur and temperature B back here. Then you will change the temperature to level 1, press 1 for 50 generations, zoom in on the environment, observe individual australopes, and then use the traits histogram window to observe the distribution. And then you'll see if your prediction was correct or not. So move it down to 1, run. I'm going to speed it up, wait till it gets to 50. See what happens over time. Once it gets to 50, I'm going to analyze and see what happens to my graph. Then I'll come back, look at my prediction, and answer the question here. And then that's it.